Okay, coming down to home stretch here with my Corvette shifter, and I just wanted to show these are the remaining parts that I'm not using from the shifter that I replaced mine with. Okay, not the knob I could have gotten away with, but anyway, this is the whole setup that was for the on and off switch. From the shift knob. Okay, so I was able to take that off. This is the reverse lock that came with the shifter from the salvage yard, and so that's what's left over. And I basically want to show you something in this car, and it is that I have succeeded in getting the shifter to the point where I wanted it, and it's taken me a long time to get this straight, and I tried every trick in the book. It wasn't easy, let me tell you. But the shifter is hooked up. The shifter I got from the salvage yard actually was missing a good amount of parts. And, I didn't really realize it at the time, but, like anything else, live and learn. But for instance, there's a pin that holds the stick. You can only see the back of it now. Whoop. Great, that was a big help. It looks just like a flat-headed screwdriver on this side, okay? And then on the opposite side, it has a cotter pin. As you probably can't see it. Anyway, that's the point. It's a pin that was missing. Another thing that was missing is there's supposed to be a big C-clip on the outside of this shifter to keep everything all together. And I'm hoping that, seriously, after all of this work and postponement, that this shifter is a whole lot better, than the one that I had in here. But can't be a lot worse. And again, this is what we're looking at with the newer 85. There's this square gizmo welded to the stick, okay? That's where that plastic switch fits in, and it just goes vertically up through the bar, and through the shift knob, and that's the overdrive. Now the difference is my overdrive is right there, meaning from the left, the second switch, and it works perfectly. So I'm lucky. I've heard a lot of horror stories, so I'm wrapping this up today. Excuse me, I hope. And I am wrapping this up today. I know better than to say I hope. But I had a lot of problems, and what I basically did was, I don't usually, I've tried not to ever be like a hammer mechanic type of guy, but the bar that swings to the left there is second and third. That doesn't look very close now to the middle bar, which is first and second. However, when you have this disconnected, there is virtually no space to get these bars in and out in a reasonable fashion. The only way I was able to do it was to basically hook up first and second, which is the cam or lever to the right. And I didn't put any cotter pins through or any washers, just kind of hooked it up. The reverse is way over to the right. That's not usually a problem. Okay, there's the reverse bar is right there, and that one is easy to fit. These two, anyway, what I had done was there's a rubber washer in there, I think I mentioned, that was sort of on the worn side, ripped side. But the bottom line is I had to essentially take that bar, which is like a miniature T, welded all one piece, and it goes through like a bolt, and then there's a washer and a cotter pin. I had to cut it in half with a pair of scissors just to be able to use it, because I virtually had the T of that shift rod right up against, and it would have destroyed the rubber thing anyway. So I just cut it in half, and then half again. It's all in there. In the right side, I had to trim a little bit of the rubber grommet, and then the flat washer and the clip. But on and on, we basically are in a situation here where this was another piece that's missing. There's supposed to be a clip that goes around the center of the shifter, which is right here. Basically, there's supposed to be a clip that goes right here. Right here. Okay, it's like a large C clip, and I'm starting to think that in the salvage yard they did take the shifter apart slightly to get the rods out, because it is really a trick. That's one other thing you could do. I thought this bolt on the right kept the shifter together, but it doesn't. It's the center piece, which is a miniature cylinder that's wider on the right side. If worse came to worse, I was going to just drag down one of the linkage bars slightly to get these bars to fit, but it wasn't easy. So I had to use a little bit of persuasion, and I basically, for lack of better words or verb, I kind of like forced second and third into that lever. It wouldn't have worked any other way, I don't think, unless I said, as I mentioned before, if you took that cylinder out, you could have maybe lifted one of the levers down slightly and these two would have popped on. However, you're risking taking this apart, and that's the part that is rare and that wears out. Okay, so I don't know. I'm really hoping this is going to be a whole lot better after all this work. This video is probably long enough to go into midnight, but I also wanted to mention that on YouTube I have